to this episode of Transformational Leadership TV, where we inspire, equip, and challenge leaders just like you to do their part to change the world around them. I'm your host, Genesis Eakes, and today you are going to love my guest. This is Nettie Tomlinson, but she just corrected me that she's affectionately known as Nettie, so don't call her Annette. She's definitely Nettie. So we're going to hear from Nettie today, and I have just had the privilege of getting to know her more and more. We got connected through a transformation initiative over in the Tupelo, Mississippi area called Transformation Tupelo. And one of the things that I got to know about Nettie is that she's kind of a serial entrepreneur. She owns several businesses, but she's also an author. She's a published author, and she's got this beautiful story of her life. And she is just a great example of a transformational leader. And so I wanted to bring her on and just let you hear from her a little bit about her journey and her story recently. Because as you guys know, transformational leaders, they don't just see problems in the world. I think it's one thing to see the problems, but it's something completely different to be motivated to do something about it. And that is Nettie Tomlinson. She is a transformational leader that sees something and goes after it and wants to be the change that she can be in the world. So Nettie, why don't you just open us up today? Tell us a little bit more about yourself. Just say hi to everyone, and then we'll jump in. I've got some questions for you.
Thank you so much. I am so honored and delighted to be here, and I'm so thankful to be a part of this transformational leadership just because I get to be around you. And I've been able to be blessed enough to get to know you. I like to say, if you know Genesis, you may as well just be sitting with John Maxwell himself. And so I am just so honored. Ever since I first found out about transformational leadership, I have just been in awe of it. I was at a children's home for 29 years, and right at the very time that I was resigning from that job, transformational leadership came to my town. And I literally gave your leadership team a tour of our campus while they were here. And I did not get to attend the meetings that were going on in Tupelo. So I didn't know what this was still, but I was like, transformational leadership, what's going on here?
Hold on, I'm going to just jump in for a second there, because I think you're talking about the Transformation Tupelo initiative that got started in your area. Is that correct?
Yes, Mark Cole came and brought this to us. And what was crazy is his grandfather started the children's home that I was at. So while he was here in Tupelo, he wanted to come visit us as well. And I was invited to the tables, but I just could not get there because I had him in town and all this other stuff going on at the children's mansion. And so, but I was just transformation. It sounded so fantastic to me, but I did not connect with it at the time. It just sounded so impactful.
Yes. Yeah, it's one of those interesting words that kind of grabs your attention, right? So, okay, so fast forward for me a little bit, because I know you heard about the initiative. Obviously, you got to host Mark Cole, who is the CEO of the Maxwell Enterprises over at the Tupelo Children's Mansion. Did I get the name correct there?
That was amazing. I got to spend like 3 or 4 hours with Mark.
Yeah, he's an amazing guy for sure. Also a transformational leader in his own right, clearly. Transformation Tupelo kicks off this transformation initiative in your area. And one of the things that is a key component of that is the transformation table. And you and I have talked a lot about a transformation table, but tell me what your first experience was, because you already said that you're like, I didn't get to participate when it was first rolled out. It was part of this whole crazy thing, and I wasn't a part of it. So how did you get introduced to a transformation table?
No, I didn't get to do it in the town. And I really was just like, what is this? And then it started happening. We started having meetings at our church, and my kids were able to attend. And I just started noticing a lot of, like, I was teaching another class just this healing class that we teach, and I taught the youth. And I'm getting these first thing that happens is I'm getting all these text messages while I'm teaching, ding, ding, ding. And I'm like, what is happening? Nettie, thanks for being a great listener. And I'm like, Okay. There's like 3 people in the church that seem to think I'm a great listener. This is so weird. And then the next week, it was something else. And that one was the one that, like, apparently they taught on listening. And so what happened is Jay Carney was leading it, and he said, all right, if you've got somebody that you think is a great listener, go ahead and text them and thank them. And so a few people in the church had texted me, which was funny because I've never really thought I was that great of a listener. But then my son did something very interesting because my daughter and son were both taking the classes, and he goes, this is next, the classes that we're taking, mom, is like next level stuff that, like, it's better than Sunday school. It's better than literally anything I've ever heard in my life. And I said, wow. And so then the next day he started, my son is, at the time he was 20 years old and a senior at Ole Miss. And he said, I want to get my contractor's license. And I'm like, really? Well, he is very shy, and I'll just be real honest with you. He's always kind of played small. And so he does like help build houses and tile floors, and he's learning all kinds of skills. He has an excellent boss, but the thought of him ever going for something on that level was not something that ever equated with me or him. But he just made the statement, like, I've got to take initiative. Nobody else is going to tell me like what the next steps are, what to do with my life. But when I went through that table, I realized I'm not taking enough initiative. And I was like, okay, what in the world? If this can move my son to that type of action, that's incredible. Then the next week they taught on attitude, I believe it was. It's like attitude, I think, was one of the weeks. I think it was the next one. And my daughter had told me that I had such a great attitude. And I was like, well, so do you. And she said, well, I really even want to have a better attitude. And so we started talking about that class and how it was transforming her life. And I was like, okay. So I told the lady that's in charge of the classes that I teach, this life recovery program, and I said, I'm going to need a week off. I got to figure out what's going on. Like, what is happening in these classes? And so I got to go to one of the classes, and it was just so powerful. And that class was actually on forgiveness. And it was one of the people that read, they had read a sentence that said, unforgiveness is like drinking poison and expecting someone else to die. And it was just these things. And I was like, this is so good. I have written a book, and my book is called When Hurt Chooses You. And it's all about hurt, and just the bridge between hurt and healing is forgiveness. And I was just thinking, wow, this stuff is off the charts. So they made the comment after the end of the class, if you would like to be involved in the transformational tables, come up and talk to us, let us know. And so Jay Carney and Carl Shepard were leading this. And I walked up to him and said, how can I get involved? Like, I am so sold on this. And I had only been there once. He's like, well, what would you like this to look like? I said, well, I lead a very big Sensi team, and I'd like to start with my leadership team. Obviously, I don't know how to lead a table, but would one of you guys be able to do this with me? And so immediately Carl Shepard signed me up for the iTransform app, and we got my leadership team on, which is like my directors and above. And for the next 8 weeks, Carl came on each week and did a Zoom with us. And the transformation that began to take place within my team was so next level, Genesis, because we can't build strong, healthy businesses if we don't have strong, healthy families. And that begins with us. If we're not forgiving, how can we expect, to have healthy marriages and healthy children? And then that is where that trickle down effect trickles into the people that we sign up and then into our customers. And I just began to see my team and my leadership, because in our team, we do have a pretty, a large size team. It's a couple thousand. And I just began to see, I was like, I have a very good culture, a very healthy culture, but I just started beginning to really, really put these transformative values into our culture on a next level, and just started challenging my people. If you don't take initiative, why would you think your team would? If you're not going to take initiative and do your part, do you think people are gonna? If we're not selling, and we're not booking parties, and we're not doing it ourselves, we're not showing up for ourselves, because in direct sales, yes, you can make a lot of money, but you have to put the time in. Nothing is just free. And so I began to see girls hitting directors, girls reaching levels that they never had. All of us hit Cabo. Almost every one of us that took the table, like almost every one of us earned the trip to Cabo. We started taking initiative in new ways. Okay. And so it was transformative. And then from there, I was so complimentive of the program and so grateful that all of a sudden Jay and Eric and Carl and some of them were asking me if I would be willing to get involved on another level in the community.
That's incredible. I love hearing your story and just the incredible impact and how beautiful that it started with your kids.
Yes.
Yeah, and I'm a mom too. I've got adult children, they're grown now, and there's nothing that is more beautiful to me as a mom than when my kids start actualizing, when they become the people that we saw when they were born, and you hold them in your arms, you're like, oh my gosh. And to have them be able to walk through that transformation so you could see it, and you're like, wow, what is this? That's incredible. And then your team, wow. That's so cool. So you just said that Jay and some of the other people started asking you to step up and to help out at a bigger level. So bigger level, what did that mean for you?
Mind, but then I finally, like, the Lord was just nudging me, and just because I really began to, when this happened, I really began to listen to John Maxwell and follow him and started listening to some of his podcasts. And the thing that stood out to me the most that he said was, here I am trying to get to the highest level of Sensi, which I have achieved since I've taken on transformation. But what John Maxwell said was, leadership is not title. Leadership is impact, and impact is influence. And leadership is every day when you wake up and you just say, who can I impact today? And when you start to impact other people's lives, you start to make a difference in their lives, and you start to have influence. So it has nothing to do, it transcends titles. And I just began to feel this sense of responsibility. I just began to feel this sense of responsibility, Genesis, because I'm a galvanizer, and I'm somebody that if I'm going somewhere, I want to take others with me. And so I felt like I was being selfish. I felt like, Nettie, you're holding back a gift that you have, a natural gift, a God-given gift that the Lord's given you, which is the ability to bring people along and also teach them things. And I just told him, I said, okay, I can't fight this anymore. Like, what do I need to do? What does this look like? Okay. And so I just began, I just, Brother Carney, I listened to him, and I was not a listener. Those people were lying. I did not listen, Genesis. And one of the most powerful things, if you're watching this and you have never done a table, is realizing how much you don't listen and how much we try to upstage others when they're telling their story. And then you're like, oh yeah, I can speak to that, but don't. Not in the tables. In the tables, let them speak their truth. And then you say, thank you for sharing. And the powerful impact and the transformation that takes place when you let their story rest and just sit there, and they get to hold that. You're not taking that bag back from them and saying, let me tell you my part. See, and that is so powerful, and it was so profound. And the things that it has taught me in leadership, in all the other things that I do, has been next level. One of the most powerful things about taking this into the city is every time I do a table, I'm learning. It is so next level for me. So I took it on. I said I would do it. And the very first thing I did was I took it to my networking group, one of the networking groups I'm involved in the town. And I started a table just like on a random Thursday in the mornings, and other business people began to come. That was super, super powerful. And then I honestly just started calling businesses and asking them, can I come talk to you? And I will tell you something, and I think we're allowed to say this on here, but I met with one business owner who I did not know, and I actually made a cold call. And she made the comment, she said, I wasn't going to let you in when you called. She said, because I don't know you. And I've had so many people that have tried to come to our facility and change us because we're not faith-based. She said, but I'm going to be, God, very honest with you. If I ever saw the Lord, he's right here. Now, she's not saying I'm the Lord, but the Spirit of the Lord is with me. And I'm going to tell you why. It's because it's in this program. Okay. There is no scripture, but what is here is so it's so powerful that you almost feel like you've had a Bible study, but it's just about transformation. Okay. And so they started the tables without me. They were able to take this and run with it. And we've had several people be able to do that. And then we have been able to get into other companies. And within each company, it's just been so powerful. All the change that's been taking place in their lives. And when you circle back to the Sensi team, marriage is saved, marriage is revitalized to the point of, wow, we may need therapy. I'm not the therapist, but like, this program makes you think so much on a next level that it takes you to a next level, Genesis. We've been able to do these tables. I'm not sure even how long I've been doing this, Genesis. You probably know, but I have seen so much transformation within each table that we've been able to start.
That's amazing. Well, you shared a story with me not that long ago about this beautiful group of women that you were facilitating a table with. I think that they were a recovery home or something along those lines. Will you tell that story?
Yes, that is the Friend of God, and they're located in Amory. And I had initially asked them, I met with their leader, did not know these people. This is another like just, hey, can I meet with you? Let's go to lunch. I introduced the program. And what I usually do when I do that is I just have a table with them right there. I bring the paperwork and I let them pick a topic and we just sit and switch paragraphs. And they were like, okay, this is transformative. But they said, will you come the first one? Will you come and lead the first one? And then we can take it from there. And so they have since finished. But the first one that we taught on was hope, because that's the beginning of what we teach here in Tupelo. And one of the ladies, this is a recovery program, a drug recovery program. And she just said, Miss Nettie, I just got a light bulb moment. And I said, well, what is it? She goes, we ain't dope dealers. We're hope dealers. And I said, that is amazing. We're dealing hope. And so that was lots of tears, lots of just powerful stuff happening within. I was only there once, but it was so powerful to the point where their group, Friend of God, they wanted a photo shoot with me and they posted several times about that one experience. And so it's not me. It isn't even really the even the words on the paper. It's the transformation that just takes place as the people read it, Genesis.
Yeah.
It's not Maxwell. It isn't me. It isn't any one particular thing. It's the reading of it out loud, and it's the experience of it.
Yeah, that's what I hear over and over again. It's the experience, and it's kind of hard to understand sometimes because if you just look at it on the page, you're like, I don't get it, I don't understand. And I want to make sure that everybody that is paying attention, that is listening, that they have the opportunity to be able to participate in a transformation table, because here's the beautiful thing, that there's no cost. This
No
is
cost.
something that the Maxwell Leadership Foundation does because they just believe that everybody deserves to be led well. And
Yes.
it's the thing that this organization can offer to the world as a gift to help us be better people. Right. And it's kind of like, how are we going to change the world? We're going to do it one person, one table at a time. And, this is just our way to contribute to making the world a better place. So anyway, thank you so much for sharing that. I love that story, going from being dope dealers to hope dealers. Oh, that's amazing. That's one context. But tell me about, I think you were also telling me about a furniture store or something like that. So, because I think sometimes people get locked into one idea and going, well, maybe those people need help, or maybe that needs but it's like, I think we all need transformation. We all need to be able to be transformed. So tell me the story about the furniture company.
Well, we're in a furniture store right now, and we just finished one whole section because we are taking it into parts. So we just finished the first, section of meetings with the front of the house, like not the sales team, but like the people that take the money and stuff. And there's like 6 of them. And I mean, just so transformative. And some of these people, like, they're like, Miss Nettie, I've never even listened to a podcast before. Like, this stuff is literally changing the way that I parent. It's changing the way that I see myself. Like, in one particular story, with initiative, she said, when I come to work, I take tremendous initiative, but sometimes I don't in my personal life. And so you never know which direction they're going to go with their stories. And when we finished this section, I even had one of them call me and say, a couple of us would like counseling. We really need to take this to another level. And this really came to light, and we realized this since then. And so we were able to connect them with a therapist and help them to really get their life to another level too. So it just makes you think, and just makes you get to places that you didn't really even realize that you could be in your own personal healing journey.
That's so incredible. So where are things at now?
Because this one is so powerful. It's a friend of mine, and I won't name her because she might be like, what? I went and talked to her and her husband about the transformation tables and getting them into their business. And that was a very, very large business with about 40 employees. And we taught the very first one. I brought all my lessons on Genesis and just said, which one do you guys want to do? So the three of us did initiative. And then that night they called me back and asked if they could talk to me on the speakerphone. And I said, yes. And she just said, Nettie, I have realized that I really, really need to take better care of my health. I don't want to tell her story that, until she tells it, but she has since lost 68 pounds. And so it just, it's amazing. There's so many stories like that. Where I'm at right now, what has recently taken place is I told you that I had reached the highest level with Sensi. And so I was very blessed to go to the Superstar Director Summit in Idaho I believe it was in March or April. And while I was there just meeting new leaders, I just must have somehow randomly started talking about the transformation tables and just how much they've changed people's lives. And a couple of Superstar directors were really listening, Genesis. And when I got back, they called me and they said, we want to do this within our community. We want to offer this to our teams. What does this look like? And so I told them about the tables and, what they actually look like. And these girls are very, very intuitive and they're very tech savvy, and they just ran with this, Genesis. And I mean, we now lead a table, and we do it every Wednesday, and we have a Zoom link, and we have 20 leaders, so 20 Superstar directors. On Wednesday mornings, I teach the 20 Superstar directors. We all get put into like 5 different rooms or something, and we do a table amongst ourselves. And that was another thing that you taught us about the transformation, because they all were like, we need Nettie to teach us. It's not about me. It has nothing to do with me. Anybody can do this. That's the power of it. And you taught us that, Genesis, and they all are now being empowered to go and just teach it and read it. You just read this. That's the transformation. It isn't in my personality or someone's voice. It's the paperwork. It's the doing. And so on Wednesday mornings, we all do it as leaders. And then Wednesday nights, I think we had about 150 or 60 people sign up for it. And then we all join this huge Zoom, and then we get put into 20 different rooms. And the stuff that has taken place within their Genesis, we didn't even know what this would look like. We didn't have a clue how this was going to happen. And in one particular room, there was 3 people, and there's only about 6 people in each room, maybe 8 if there has to be. But in one particular room, there was 3 people that suffered recent loss, 2 that had lost a child, and 1 that had lost a husband. And just the journey that they've been on of just healing has been just so powerful and so profound. And it's just truly, truly been incredible to see. And just so many stories are coming out from this, and the healing that is taking place among all of us has been very, very next level. I get texts all the time. I get emails. I got an email today from a mom who is a director and who is leading one of the tables. And then her daughter is a consultant, and she's in my table. And she said, I just have to thank you. This is literally transforming Michaela's life. And Michaela is, I don't know, she's 20, 21, and she just lights up. She loves to come to the rooms, and it is making her look at college differently, look at her volleyball team differently, the way that she dates, the way that she handles relationships, everything. Okay. And she won't mind me saying that. And it's just been so incredible just seeing all the different things and all the different stories that have taken place. And just, you talk about listening. I didn't listen. When people called me to find out, how can I get to the next level? How can I be a better salesperson? How can I book those parties? I was telling them how I do it. I'm talking about me. That isn't listening. Listening is asking a few questions and letting them figure it out on their own. I
Mm.
learned transformation tables. Okay.
Wow.
Learned how to go from a mentor to a coach. Coaches, they're listening. Okay. They're not talking. They're not doing all the talking. Forgiveness is a continual bridge. It's a constant, it's something we have to do every single day with ourselves, with our families, with leadership within your businesses. And that never ends, Genesis. I don't care if you're a naturally forgiving person. I feel like I am. People read my book and they're like, how did you forgive? I don't know. But having it constantly on your mind definitely helps, when you're reading these. And it's just been powerful. It has been so transformative to the point where we are going to finish up. I believe we have 2 tables left for this round. And then we are going to start a whole nother one and offer it again to more people. And it's just going to be something that we continue on because it is literally that transformative in people's lives.
That is just so incredible. And I love just hearing all of the different ways because everybody's story is different. Everybody gets their own story, everybody gets their own journey. And to hear all of the different ways that people's lives are being impacted is just this beautiful kaleidoscope that you just are painting such a beautiful picture in front of us. So thank you for that. But let me ask you this question, just coming at it from a little different perspective. Have there been any challenges along the way? So I know you wanted to bring big impact and you're wanting to do something that is big and bring these transformation tables to people and keep this initiative going. Any challenges that you've encountered?
I think one of the challenges is just you have to take the initiative yourself as a facilitator and just do the work because everything is work. And just reminding myself each week, I want to get this much impact. And so I have to put in the time to actually just ask. Okay. I think the biggest challenge for me personally, Genesis, is the ask. It's the initial just, can I walk into your space? Can I introduce this to you? Because it is so transformative. And once you get past the ask, it's amazing. For some people, I think another challenge would be just them understanding the actual absolute simplicity of this because they're like, what do you want? Nothing, nothing. So the challenge is sometimes, Genesis, is that the program is so simple that people almost don't comprehend it because they're just thinking that this has to come with some ginormous book, or it's got to be $9.99 per person, or this has to be some kind of lifelong fee. And the simple truth is, all we want to do is create transformation so that you can create transformation, so that someone else can create transformation. When I think about this, Genesis, as a girl who went to 26 schools by the 10th grade, who was uneducated, somehow I made it through college. I do not know how, because in high school, the highest math I had was general math, and I got a D. I couldn't even pass pre-algebra. I graduated and went through college somehow, and have a bachelor's degree. But that's all by the grace of God. But this is the things that if I could have known this, because I didn't even have a driver's license until I was 26. I didn't even know you could take out college loans. So I worked and fought my way through college for 4 years and just worked 40 hours a week so that I didn't know loans existed. Okay. I had so little parenting and so little help. But if I would have known these types of things, my life would have been forever changed, because there was one message that I heard when I was in college that did transform my life. And it was by a man named Alan Oggs. and he said, the worst place in life to be is offended. And that's what this stuff is teaching. If you can get out of that offense mode to where you don't wear a badge of offense, to where you walk in the room, just offend me. I just dare you, come at me. When you can take that badge of offense off and just live a free life, being for a forgiving person creates freedom. Learning to listen creates so much freedom in your life. But going back to the challenges is, I think the number one challenge is, of course, on a larger level, we want to get into school systems. We want to get in front of schools. We want to get in front of administrators. We want hospitals teaching this. And so sometimes I would say that the biggest challenge is getting in front of the right people. Just getting in that door. If I can get in the door, the program sells itself, and it comes at no cost. Okay, this program works, and so there's no problem if you just read it. But I think sometimes people are like, "This is it? You just want to transform my team?" Yeah, we don't even want to be the hero. We don't even want to transform your team. We want you to. We want you to be able to transform your team, because it is literally that simple.
Yeah.
So I would say the challenge for me, because teaching tables is like what I literally live for. I feel like I could do this 40 hours a week, but the challenge is just getting through the red tape and getting in the right in the right rooms with the right people. And that takes the discipline, and you just have to fight for it because you believe in the program so much that you're willing to do the follow-up calls, make the phone calls, ask the right people, can you get me in front of the people that actually are the decision makers, so that we can help transform their business, transform their programs, transform their schools.
Yeah. Yeah, that's amazing. And I think everybody can probably understand why I wanted you to be on this episode today, because you truly are a transformational leader, and your passion and your heart for people is so beautiful, and the way that you show up. And I'm just so grateful for you and for all that you are doing to make our world a better place, because it wasn't that you just saw the problems in the world. You have just gone after it with complete abandon, my words there. But it just seems like with this complete abandon, saying, you know what, I can't do everything, but I can do something. And this is what I can do. And I'm just so incredibly proud of you for the impact that you are making in your sphere of influence. And it is making such a tremendous difference. Just listening to all of your stories, I'm just amazed. My tank is completely full for anybody that is out there and watching and going, oh my gosh, our world is going down and things are going terrible. It's like, you just need to listen to stories like this. You just need to be at tables where you're seeing and experiencing this life-changing impact, just one person at a time, because this is what makes our world better. Before I let you go, if there is one piece of advice that you could give, so maybe somebody is out there and they've never experienced a transformation table, they've never experienced anything like Transformation Tupelo or anything like that, but they just want to make a difference, is there any advice that you would give them?
Well, the number one advice that I'm going to give them to start with, Genesis, is if you want to make a difference, you have to be transformed yourself first. We cannot transform other people's lives, Genesis, if we are not continuously transformed. Okay, we cannot get from this space to this space without the bridge of forgiveness. We cannot get from this challenge to this new place we want to be without the bridge of initiative. We cannot improve our marriage and go from frustration to victory without the bridge of listening. You see what I'm saying? And
Yeah.
so first, transform yourself. Go through the tables. Get in touch with one of us that are doing this ourselves and ask us, how can I get the app? How can I download this so that I can first be transformed? Because if I am not transformed, I cannot go out and make a difference. Genesis, I once was speaking at ladies' conferences, and I had come up with this concept of having girls paint jeans, paint their stories on jeans. Okay. And we did it at the children's home, and we had girls who were rape victims, girls who had been trafficked, write their stories on with puff paint on jeans. Okay, Genesis. And we went and we took them downtown Tupelo, and we hung them on all kinds of strings for the world to see, to stand up for justice, jeans for justice, to give these girls justice. Well, we came up with the idea to create these beautiful bags of jeans and puff paint and speak at ladies' conferences all across the nation. And this was going to be my platform. I was going to present this to people and offer this. And before I left for the first conference, I was going to Florida. My assistant said, Nettie, you've not painted your pair of jeans. I haven't, but I've already received my healing. She's like, oh, no, we have to do this. Genesis, I'd already written a book. And I began to, I don't know if I'd written my book. I hadn't written my book, but I thought that I had received all the healing that I needed from all the childhood trauma. And I began to write on my pair of jeans, and I used a jean skirt, big old jean skirt. And I was just weeping. You see, the transformation, we cannot teach transformation if we do not live in transformation. And that story just hit me right now when you say it, because she put me in my place and said, don't go speak something that you have not lived out yourself. Don't ask these people to paint a pair of jeans if you've not done it. And so what I would challenge you to do first is go through the table yourself so that you can experience this. And then if you have transformation that takes place, how can you hide this? How can you not share this? Because it can literally change your family, your home, your kids. My kids, whether they go to college or not, doesn't matter to me a whole lot. Really, whether they work at the Dollar General or they go and become the CEO of, Google Enterprises, if they don't have this transformation, that's where the power lies within life, because that is the life-giving, life-changing stuff that you cannot find in anything else. So go do it. Go get transformed yourself so that you can go naturally want to help other people. Why would someone want to be selfish, Genesis? If you have something, such a big gift, you want to give that gift away and bless other people. We want to be generous.
Yeah. That's beautiful. Oh my gosh. Well, I could not have said it any better. I think that is a great way to close us out today. So there you go. Transformational leaders, they take action. They do something about it. So I think we can all take that next step and get involved in a transformation table, and we will have links and ways that people can get connected and get involved. And if there's something that they want to do to bring more transformation, maybe to their organization, or if you want to bring transformation to your community like Tupelo is doing in theirs, there will be ways that you can reach out and we can get started in that process. So thank you so much for your time today, Nettie. Please don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel so you can get more inspiring stories just like Nettie's, and just hear more about ways that people are doing good in the world, that are bringing transformation and are making our world a better place. Thanks so much, everyone. Bye-bye.